How do you know when it's time to quit your job and go full-time trading the financial markets? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to calculate that exactly. So stick around and let's jump into this topic. So it all sounds pretty nice, right? Trading for a living, you don't have to leave the house. You can make your own hours. You can trade the financial markets and you're making enough to take a vacation to the beach and sip pina coladas, right? Well, let me just get some things out of the way, some disclaimers about trading for a living before we jump into this. First of all, you have to ask yourself, do I really want to trade solely for a living? Because there's a couple things that you need to be aware of. Trading solely for a living is psychologically difficult, and we'll bullet point these here for you. It's psychologically difficult to have your trading be a single source for you in terms of income because it's inevitably inconsistent. Nobody knows the perfect outcome of what the markets are going to do every single day, and anybody who says that should definitely not be trying to trade for a living because it's way harder than that. Trading income is inconsistent, and so trading solely for a living has that as kind of a difficulty. The second thing you need to consider is that drawdowns when you are trading solely for a living can be very, very psychologically difficult to endure. If you have no other source of income and you're having a losing streak or a month or two of drawdown, it's psychologically very difficult. The third point is kind of a weird one. Psychologically, it's kind of difficult because most people won't understand what you do for a living. Very few people are ever able to reach the point of being able to consistently make enough money from the markets to live off of it. And so, you know, the only people who are able to do that are usually like 75 years old who have like $1 million plus in a retirement account. But we're not talking about that. So people psychologically, it will be a little challenging to explain what you do for a living. That being said, I promised you I'd show you how to calculate how much money you would need and how much generally you need to be able to make from your trading consistently in order to trade for a living. Let's jump into this. So it all kind of comes down to math. The first thing you have to ask yourself, and by the way, this answer is going to be an equation to a degree that you have to fill out for yourself because we're all living in different places. The cost of living in the place that I'm living, Atlanta, Georgia, is high, but there are places that are higher, right? If I'm living in LA, I probably need like 15 times more money per month in order to live in a cardboard box. But here in Atlanta, you know, in terms of rent, you might need somewhere around $2,000 a month, let's call it, if you are living in a you know, kind of bigger apartment. You know, that would be about $2,000 a month. So in terms of what we would need for a basic example for the for you know, Atlanta, you'd need $2K for rent, and let's just say you'd need you know, let's say you'd need $500 for groceries and, you know, various like small store expenses. And then, you know, so that's $2,500 a month already. And then let's just say you need kind of a miscellaneous $500. This could be anything from, I don't know, internet and services that you pay for, Netflix if you're watching, I don't know, whatever it is, right? So that puts you at like $3,000 so far on this screen already. Then let's just say you want to have an extra $1,000 in terms of reinvestable income, or at the very least like a safety fund, right? Anybody before you trade for a living, absolutely you should have some safety net, a safety net built up for you in case anything comes along, you have any sort of issues, car breaks down, etc. So altogether, that puts us at $4,000 a month here in Atlanta. This is just, again, a basic example. You might be very different than me. You might have kids, you might have, you know, school tuition to pay off, you might have, you know, debt, whatever it is. You got to kind of factor in what are your month-to-month costs that you need to overcome, right? So to me, $4,000 is like the bare minimum in Atlanta, Georgia. Now you could get less than that, right? You could get $3,000, but again, it's going to be person to person. This is an individual, like a solo running kind of scenario. If you had a spouse or somebody else who contributes income to the household, right? Maybe you don't need $4,000. Maybe you need like $2,500 to contribute, or you know, something like that, right? So there is that option as well. So let's say, you know, you have a spouse or whatever it is. You have to kind of factor in how much money consistently overall do you need per month in order to kind of reasonably stay afloat. So this is our baseline. we need, in this example, $4,000 a month on average in order to, sorry for the messy drawing, in order to pay for our living expenses and have a little bit of cushion in there. So we need $4,000 a month. That's how much we need in terms of income. The next question is, how much percent can you reasonably and consistently average in the financial markets? And here's where things get real fun, because most people who are new to trading, they think that something like 10% or 15% per month average is a reasonable amount. And I always incite violence in the comment section whenever I talk about this, because if I say, for example, that I think what is much more reasonable in terms of a consistent average potential in the markets, let's call it 2 to 3% per month, a lot of times people immediately are like, what? No way. But let me just use a little bit of my gatekeeping skills here. And let me just say, I've spoken with a lot of professional traders. I've been trading the financial markets myself. I've been consistently profitable for years, and I've met many other traders who are. None of them go for more than something like 5% per month. That is like the peak traders that I've ever seen in terms of average, right? Because you might have a 10% month, but you might also have a minus 4% month. You might have a minus 5% month, and you might have a plus 6% month. My point is, if you can overall average 2 to 3%, you're doing very well. And most people, again, who are new to this don't understand just how quite difficult it is to really be consistent in the markets. The markets are a very, very tricky place to make money. And again, if you do not agree with me on this topic, please, I would encourage you to make sure you've done your back testing, make sure you've had, before you even consider going full time, let me just say this, you need to have a couple years of experience behind you of trading profitably before you even go, you should not be trading for a living if you're just now starting to get profitable. You should have a few years behind you of being profitable. This is a dream for people. You have to understand, trading for a living is an end goal. It's very difficult to get to that point, and very, very, very few people ever will. But you need to have years behind you where you've been profitable trading part-time before I think you trade full-time, because you need to have that data behind you to show that you actually have profitability in your trading. So again, if you can average 2 to 3%, you are doing so much better than the average trader. The average trader just loses money. So if you're making even plus $1 a month, you are doing better than 99% of traders out there, because most people who trade consistently lose consistently way more. So again, that out of the way, I know that's going to incite some violence, but again, I'm giving you my genuine answer here. I know a lot of traders, have worked with a lot of professionals. 2 to 3% is remarkable, and that's why when you look at like for example, funded companies, prop firms, they want you to make, once you have a big size of trading capital, then yeah, you can trade for a living. And that's why prop firms offer what they do, and they do so well, is people need capital. They realize that, professional traders realize you don't need to make huge percentages. You just need to have more capital. So now we've got some numbers in front of us. We're looking for 2 to 3% per month on average. We're looking that we need to make about $4,000. So how much trading capital would this mean you need to have in your trading account? So here's the calculation that you can do on your own once you're ready for this. So once you have your equivalents of these numbers, again, remember, if you say that you think you can make 3% or 4%, you are stressing yourself a little bit further. I personally think that when you are setting up your expectations for your trading, you should be more conservative with what you actually need to average in order to make this money on a consistent basis. So let's just say that we're talking 4,000, and let's go with our 2% per month average. Again, that's assuming we have good months, bad months, but overall we're coming around 2% on average per month. Okay. What you need to do is you need to take this number and actually divide it by this number. So check this out. So we'll go 4,000 and we'll divide that by 0.02, because that is 2%. So we're going to take that number, divide it by 0.02, and this gives us a total of $200,000 in trading capital in order to make $4,000 per month. And that's, again, kind of an example where you're the solo income. If you needed to make $2,500, you can see this is very different. So if we take this same example and we say instead of needing 4,000, we need 2,500 divided by 0.02, right? that puts you at 125,000. And again, remember what I said, this is something that people work towards for many years. This is not something you're new to trading and you're like, okay, now I can trade for a living, right? People work for a long time to get up the amount of capital that they need. Another alternative route here is, of course, it's been challenged recently in the US, but the idea that people can try and get funded and they can build up their capital to that degree. And perhaps I'll need to make another video in terms of prop account funding, how much money you need in prop trading accounts, but you could probably figure out the calculations for yourself. But let me just say something else. This is also assuming that you don't have a rough streak in your trading. I mentioned something psychologically that's very difficult when you start trading for a living exclusively, and that is drawdowns and how psychologically difficult that is. If you have a period of time where you're actually losing money, but you still got bills to pay, it is psychologically excruciating. And it's personally not something that I think is very healthy unless you have a very wide net sort of a wiggle room on this equation. In my personal opinion, and this is not, this is just how I think of approaching it, I actually think what you should do is, if you really want to trade exclusively for a living, you should double this number here. So 2 times this number, and that is what, you still only need 4K, but you should double what you think you need, and that's how much money you should actually have in a trading capital account. Because here's the thing. You're gonna have drawdowns, you're gonna have hard times, you're gonna have, real world scenarios, someone dies in the family, you're all psychologically messed up. Like, you need to have flexibility before you really go trading live. So again, my thought process with that would be less attractive. I know it's not a fun topic and people kind of get upset when I talk about these big numbers that you need to have in order to trade for a living, but it's the truth that I think, it's genuinely my thought. I think you need to make 8,000. And then you need to divide that by the lower number of your 2.02. That would put you at $400,000 in trading capital in order to trade for a living. This is something attainable if you're a working person in the US to get to over the years. It might take time. You might need a second income in your household. You might need to work a second job yourself. You might need whatever it is, right? Hustles, side hustles, flip things on eBay, flip things on Craigslist, whatever you can do to get your income up, or go the prop funded route as well. In the US, of course, there are now limited options on that. But I also want to mention, if you are somebody who is looking to work towards this goal, there are some brokerages linked down below in the description. These are referral links. I'll go ahead and disclaim that. But if you do choose to use them, you'll get some extra sign-up perks. Some of the brokers down there, they offer like free shares when you sign up, free stock shares. There's all sorts of different options down below in the description, so make sure to check that out. But again, this is my opinion. Again, I personally will say this in terms of what I do. Obviously, I do YouTube, and I also have a software business, and I also trade. So I have multiple sources of income. I do not rely single-handedly on trading. Obviously, I'm making this video right now, right? So I do other things outside of that. And for me, psychologically, that is so much more preferable to have multiple sources of income. I do make money from trading. I make money from investing, but I also make money from YouTube, software sales, etc. So I do think personally that this is a goal that anyone can work towards, but don't try and cut to the end of the line, right? Take it slow. Maybe find a second hustle that you're interested in. Maybe you like doing, maybe you like opening up an Etsy shop on Etsy and selling t-shirts or something like that. Whatever you can do to get that extra income up, to make this end goal be a reality. It is possible to get here, and I understand that a lot of times when I make these videos, people will in the comment section be like, okay, great, I'll do that when I'm 75 years old and I have that kind of money. And again, that's, in my view, personally, that's kind of a loser mentality. You can make it. You can find a good job, work your way up in the company. You can also, at the same time, start a side hustle and make money. I've got a friend right now, he's making YouTube shorts about making coffee, and his videos are awesome, and he's trying to find ways to monetize. There's so many different things that you can be doing in this modern day to make some extra income and to work towards that final goal of trading for a living. I wish you well on your journey. Thank you very much for watching this video, and see you next time. If you're looking to improve as a trader, we've got some cool free resources here that I wanted to share as we close today's video. Down below in the description, there is a link to join our Discord channel or our Telegram channel. And we also have our website, a1trading.com, where traders can get access to free course material to help you improve as a trader. Remember, we are also live Monday through Friday on this channel around 9:30 a.m. US Eastern, broadcasting most live news events and that sort of thing. So hope to see you there. And also, we do have a couple videos here showing up on the screen. If either of these seems like it might be helpful to you, then make sure to click here or here, and we'll see you there.